Okay, so I had a tutorial requesting how I made this picture, and I'm hopefully going to be able to duplicate it because I do have the original to this, just some scene model I found on photobucket. So I'm not really sure what part they were talking about, so I'm just going to try to run you through like the important shit. So here's the original. The first thing I did was try to get rid of the background so that I could, plot the hair better, but since the hair is so light and the background is white, it's really, really hard. So quick tip, copy the background layer and then go to Image, Adjustments, Levels, and fiddle with it. And it looks like crap, I know, but it helps me see what's going on. So I'm just going to chop out the background real quick. Okay, now that I got the background chopped out, I'm going to work on the hair. And because I don't feel like dealing with the existing background, I'm just going to fill the background with 50% gray. Pull it under. Yeah, my outline's not perfect. I had my polygon lasso feathering at 1 pixel. I think it gives a nicer edge. That's totally optional. Okay, for the hair, I just make a new layer and then I roughly outline where the hair is going to be and then I fill it with the color I'm going to be using. Okay, now that I got the basic outline of the hair down, it's really, really choppy and it looks like crap. And it's overlaying the face and everything. I don't really care about that right now. We're going to fix it later, so you just need the basic shape. You need it to be covering a little bit, all the hair and a little bit outside of the hairline, just so when you smudge it, you don't have these horrible, horrible gaps. Now we're going to use a smudge tool. And I'm going to use a strength, different strengths between 5% and 90%. I can't really tell you what method I'm really using for the strengths. I'm just eyeballing it wherever I want. Long wispy strokes, higher strength. When I want little tiny, just little smudges, lower strength. Is it loaded? No, it's not. Okay, go over here to the little arrow once you get the little brush panel open, and then you just click assorted brushes and just click append. And append just adds them. Now it has a brush in here that looks like sprinkles, if I can find it. There it is. The default size is 28 pixels. And if you look at it over in the brushes panel, it's got like a bit of scattering and everything. It's not really that important for what we're doing, but I like it because of the shape and how it drags. So just use different size brushes, anything, any size you want. Just realize that the bigger the brush, the bigger the chunks of hair. The smaller the brush, the more wispy. And I'm just gonna pull the hair in a zigzag motion like this. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is just, I'm holding down the mouse button and going back and forth. I'm really not fond of that particular look. I need to lower the opacity, but that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is just like start your smudge tool in a place where there's full color, click, and then drag out the edge. That creates a bunch of little wispy hairs. And then if you use a smaller brush, smaller wispy hairs. Bigger brush, bigger wispy hairs. So I'm just gonna smudge. Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied with how I'm smudging the hair. What you always can do is just copy that layer and just smudge it differently. Like I'm just gonna do a couple quick large strokes and then lower the opacity a bit to get, kind of that more varying hair length and tone and everything. But I'm satisfied with this. Her skin is kind of pale and everything, so it's kind of hard to see the hair, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of a drop shadow. And I'm gonna put that on overlay. And I'm just gonna mess with the angle. So it's going like straight down onto her face. Or possibly outer glow black on overlay. There we go, it looks a little bit better. That way it shadows correctly on everything. Now to clean it up, we're just going to lower the opacity until you can see where the skin is. And, you know, anything else you need to clean up. If you got it on a piece of clothing you don't want, you can do this too. You can use a polygon and lasso. I would feather it, but for me, I'm just going to use the brush tool. Not the brush tool, the eraser tool with the soft brush. You know, hardness of 50% to 0%. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. The next thing I did was I added the streaks in the hair. And to do that, I just, well, first I'm actually gonna get rid of the background layer and then merge visible so the hair is on the picture and the outer glow merged properly and everything. And I'm just gonna make a new layer and I'm gonna roughly give an idea of where I want that streak to be. And I'm just gonna make kind of jagged edges. Okay, now I got that done, I'm just going to go over to the gradient tool, which is defaulted as the paint bucket, and just right click and get the gradient tool. And you just pick out a gradient. Pick out this one called medium spectrum. And I'm just going to click at the top and drag the little thing down the very bottom point, and there we go. Select deselect, and I'm going to do this again on the other side. And I'm just gonna size it up to whatever I see fit. I'm just gonna change the opacity to multiply or maybe linear burn or maybe like overlay or something. I like overlay. You can lower the opacity a bit. Yeah, it looks kind of neat. Alright, and then I'm going to just take the smudge tool and do the same exact thing I did to the white of the hair to these streaks. Okay, now that I got it smudged the way I want, I'm just going to lower the opacity a bit so it's not as bright. And then I'm just going to use the eraser tool. I'm going to use a really big fluffy brush, hardness of 0 I mean, and just kind of erase the top edge so it blends in a bit better. Okay, before I merge that down, first thing I want to do is the skin looks a little flawed, pixely, the lips look a little chapped, so I'm just going to go to filter, blur, surface blur, and I'm just going to mess around with the sliders. And then I'm just going to smudge it in the shape with a regular soft edge brush. I'm just going to merge that down, and then do any smudging I feel I need to like correct any mistakes I made. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just going to leave that beef. Let's see, I'm not going to do the piercings since I already have a tutorial on the piercings. Just double click the layer and go to outer glow, white. Adjust to whatever size you want or whatever color you want. To replicate the picture I did, I'm going to use white. And inner glow with white as well.